None of us could answer any of them.
That's what that is.
So, okay. Yeah, the slug burger was part and parcel of, we were talking about how good they are, and I love a slug burger, man. I'd eat my weight in them.
Well, I have to tell you that Corinth is known worldwide.
Yes, it is.
For that particular bit of culinary expectorants. You go there, you figure somebody's going to serve you a slug burger, and they do. That's what's so neat about it.
The first time I'd ever heard of it was on this network, probably 20 years ago, when JT Williamson would talk about a slug burger, and I didn't know what they were really. And living up there, if you ask, you would find out. And
yes, oh yes. And for anybody who doesn't happen to know, because we do have people, thankfully, listening from all around the world, the slug burgers are one of the things that are the result of necessity.
Yeah, the Depression.
There was there might have been a little bit of meat, and hopefully there was a little bit of potato or rice or something else. But when you went off and needed to go to work all day, had lucky enough to get a little work to do, you needed to put something in your pocket that you could nibble on all day because you weren't going to get a break until hopefully you had a whole day's worth of work. It was a tougher time than anyone here listening to me today can imagine. I know this because it was preached at me by my relatives who lived through it. So I can tell you that the slug burger was an innovation that came about as a result of serious necessity. And it was made as a sandwich or made if you had a piece of bread. Otherwise, it was just literally folded up and put into your pocket so that you would have something to eat. And the fat is the only thing that held it together. And that, frankly, is what held you together, too, at that time.
Well, and yeah,
tiny bit of protein, tiny bit, this and that. But you were not you were not going to keel over if you had you a slug burger.
Well, and a nickel would buy one apparently, and that was a slug,
which was a lot of money at the time.
It was a slug, so that's where it got the slug burger. Today they make them, with basically ground beef and some flour, or and fry it.
They're a little bit more, shall we say, consistent cuisine at this point. Yes, that is
mainstream.
True.
But I think they would throw whatever they had basically into that mix and pat it down into, like you said, if you had bread, you'd be patted into a burger form and fried. But yeah, I've eaten so many of those over the years, and I'm a huge fan. I've always wondered how it never really made it down to Central Mississippi as far as having a slug burger type of establishment.
It's very much a local cuisine, and like some things, you just have to go there and enjoy it.
That's right. That's where you go, Northeast Mississippi.
I have to tell y'all, if you are lucky enough, and I hope you are, to be checking us out at supertalk.tv, you will notice that it's very seasonal. We've changed my backgrounds, and I'm also wearing a particular shirt to make sure that I'm in the right tones for today. I also have something to show you. This is an really old piece of Baltic amber, but guess what? Oh, this is so exciting. If you were a kid and someone gave you your first globe to play with, a world globe, and you spun it around and you said, well, isn't that funny? It looks kind of like South America might fit into that part over there by Africa and Europe kind of. Is that? Well, then the next thing you know, you're in geography class and someone's teaching you just a little bit more about our Earth. And, of course, that's when you find out that, indeed, Gondwana is what the term was for before those continents split apart. Well, one of the things that's in the European end of that, African end of that, has always been these wonderful insects trapped in amber that we all get to see. I have rings, I have earrings, I've loved this stuff my whole life. Guess what? We now have Ecuadorian amber. So that not only reinforces the whole understanding of how the earth eventually got to be more water than land, but it also tells us that those two things were connected, and that's when all of these things began to happen. It is a hot, humid environment, and it is where insects and flowers and things get trapped into that particular natural rosin. They stay there forever, and fortunately, we've managed to find them. Until now, almost everything was in the northern hemisphere, but because we understand that Gondwana split, this became the southern hemisphere, so it's logical that we would find this. It's 112 million years old. Really magnificent. Really magnificent. They found, in the research that they did, they found 21 sorts of bioinclusions. And, of course, that's insects and seeds and, pollen and various and sundry other things. But I think it's really delightful. One of the places that they found amber was encasing a spider's web. It's really spectacular when you think about that's how the earth works, you know. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is taken for granted. Everything has a reason for turning into whatever it turns into as time passes. And in this case, I get to have this beautiful ring. You can too, of course. It's not Ecuadorian.
You're giving it to me. Thank you. Yes,
trust me, one day soon it will be Ecuadorian.
I've always loved the amber. You know, the Jurassic Park kind of started that way, right?
Well, it does have that sort of.
Well, the doctor had the piece of amber, and
yes,
then he drill a hole in it and get the DNA of the mosquito out that it bit the dinosaur.
Yeah, that's where all that. That's it. I don't want to say that it's entirely fictional because I recognize that there are people working on these various things, you know, every day. But yeah, that's right.
Well,
up, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Rankin County sending us Clara Curtis. Magnificent. These are our friends that have sent before the pictures from Arkansas. They're now back in Rankin County. Clara Curtis really has, as a chrysanthemum that you can rely on, she has pretty much taken over. And we'll get these pictures up in there this morning, I'm sure, because they're just lovely. Someone was asking the other week, well, when are they going to bloom? And my answer was, generally speaking, they start to bloom in central Mississippi right about the time the fair comes along. They were about a week late this time. But they've been beautiful. Also looking at some lichen today, I'm sure that you have noticed as the tree leaves fall, we do see some lichen. We see that beautiful gray lacy stuff, might be kind of yellow. It just depends on the plant that it's on and what's growing there. But the lichen always gives us the opportunity to reflect and say, well, nature's given us a cue. And this particular cue, of course, is that your tree is not doing as well or your shrub is not doing as well. It may be a simple matter of age. You know, everything does have a lifespan. And if it just can no longer take up the water and nutrients that it needs, or if it can no longer translocate them out to the ends of the branches, the situation develops so that the lichen can get hold of it and start growing there. The lichen does not kill the plant, but it sure does mess up the edges. You know what I mean? It does. It's not going to be something you want to have leaving there. So you can take it off, do a little pruning if necessary. If the areas are actually already dead that it has formed on, they're usually not. So scratch that and make sure. But if you really want to take care of that particular tree or shrub, the best thing to do would be to feed those roots, and that would be with 0-20-20. That's going to be the fertilizer of my choice to be using in the fall. You can, generally speaking, get it at farm co-ops. Sometimes you can order it from your own local garden center. Just ask them first, of course. We're getting some beautiful pictures rolling in today. I can tell you that Peaches Patrick will be dropping by in the next hour, and I have a feeling most of these are from him because he has been all over the place the last several days. Beautiful snapdragons coming along, and of course, there's the Clara Curtis. Thanks, y'all, for sending those. That's really beautiful. Good morning, Paula. It's good to see you. Maybe we can, I think maybe we could call her Jamie Lee Curtis. That is a good idea. Although Clara is a pretty good name. You know, I'm fairly fond of that one. Have you carved your pumpkins yet? Lance, have you got some decorations going on
got the
yet?
plastic ones, you know, no carving going on.
No carving.
No, but I've carved them over the years. I'm not the best. You got to have the right utensils.
Oh, I'm terrible, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah, they make a great mess. They're great fun to play with. Yeah.
True.
But no, if you have the right tools, I found over the years they're really easy to carve. But if you're trying to do it with like a butter knife or the old buck knife, it doesn't work as well.
You know, you buy the little kit. That's not going to work.
No, you got to go like and get a decent one. Those things are you know the curved blades and all that people have. They work really well.
Yeah, some fancy stuff. I love to watch people carve pumpkins, but it's not. I can't do that very much.
Yeah,
I'm not very good at it.
I just do the basic jack-o'-lantern.
Today, I don't suppose Hawk is with you today.
Oh, he is.
He is?
Yeah,
well, can we holler Bringen? Today is fetch day.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What can he bring you?
He brings everything.
Mostly Bringen is German, so that's I figure he knows that word.
He knows. He knows his Bringen, and he knows. Really, if it flies or moves fast, he thinks that's the game, right? You know, it's constant.
So what you're telling me is that a slumber of sloths is not going to be particularly interesting.
He'll probably want to play with them, right? Yeah. If it's moving fast and has some wings to it, or something like that that's moving faster than him.
Today is International Sloth Day, and I don't know if that means we're supposed to, lie down somewhere, or if it means we're supposed to understand how important it is to be conservative with our energies, or if it means we're only supposed to eat leaves. I just don't know how one would celebrate International Sloth Day.
Yeah, go vegan today, maybe.
Maybe go vegan today. I don't know. That's a weird one.
Yeah.
I have to say, I don't know. Now, I know your ryegrass is doing well, but how does Hawk feel about it? Is he letting it alone?
Well, it's funny. He likes it just fine. I probably was a couple weeks early planting it just because it's been so hot and dry. But so I've had to water it a lot and take care of it that way.
He does like that part.
Yeah. So both the lab and him the lab's a real water hose junkie. Anytime you have it on shower, she thinks that's the sign for her to come get a mouthful, right?
Of course.
And then if you pull the trigger on and off, and it like you're shooting a gun basically with water coming out, just one after another. That's her favorite thing. So, yeah, she thinks that's playtime. And she likes to eat it and fight it. So we'll get it. We always do that 3 or 4 times a day. And
Hawk, dry weather is her.
Hawk is always throwing something at me while I'm doing that because he's jealous. And he's like, you're playing with her right now. And
by the way, you need to bring this to me. It's fetch
right.
day.
No, he's throwing what he wants me to.
Throwing stuff at you.
Yeah. So that's his thing. He's like, no, don't. You can't be doing that.
That's
the grass looks good. It's I've been very impressed with the brand that I was able to get, and then the longer leaf, I guess, or the longer blade that I put out back behind the house, it's doing really well too. I think it'll really pop though with a nice rain, honestly, and that's
rain,
78.
Good range, nighttime temperatures in the 60s consistently. Both of those things go a
what
long
helps it to
way
root
for
it up,
ryegrass.
like where you see, because it seems like it's really growing, but obviously it's very brittle at the moment. It's not going to handle a horse dog running on it, and so
it's also not the time to fertilize it.
Yeah.
After it rains, you can fertilize it a little bit too.
So what do you do to get those roots to really bite in? And
that's about it.
Yeah.
Give it hope that the rain helps you out, and keeping, frankly, the dogs and the people off of it is as big a help as really most of us want to give. A lot of times people will build a house, for example, and the house gets finished in the summer and they get to move in, but there's no lawn yet. And let's face it, putting in a whole new sodded lawn is an expensive thing, so you may want to wait for the following spring to do that, besides which you may have a little bit more work to do, maybe driveways and sidewalks and that kind of stuff. You may not be ready to plant the turf yet. So that's another place where ryegrass is so important to prevent the erosion away from your house. If your house is lovely and settled and you got it in place, the last thing you need is for all of that dirt around it that has been disturbed so it can be built to end up rolling down the road. That's not good. So if you've got your opportunity to put ryegrass out, you can do that anytime between now and Thanksgiving even. I mean, you've got all winter to grow that stuff, but it's a great erosion preventer. It's a wonderful cover. And as we are fond of saying, it's a great opportunity to show off to your relatives when they come down south.
Hey, I'll be honest.
In the middle of the winter and you've got a green lawn.
It's as pretty as you're going to get this time of year, especially if you're having some trouble with grass in general. It'll grow about anywhere. Shade, anything. And this temperature has been a little warm, but it'll come on out.
Pleasant though.
Yeah, it's pleasant. But like I said, if you spend a little money and go with more of a turf rye, you'll get what you're looking for will be much more of a front yard quality. If you want to spend less, and I've been paying about $30 for the cheaper stuff, but this 50-pound bag. And it covers a lot, and that's the longer blade.
Well, and here's another tip. If you go ahead and buy the extra, because it is cheaper the more you get sometimes, just depends on which grass you're buying. But if you do that, go ahead and seed in your containers that are not growing anything right now, your ones that are just sitting around outside. Then you're going to have some what's called green manure. Let that ryegrass get to be about 3 inches tall, turn it over into the soil in the container, and you've already got better soil than you had when you started the fall. It can sit there all winter and be ready to plant something, or maybe you'll decide to put in some pansies.
And it's pretty too,
Oh yeah.
The ryegrass, I did that last year, and I bought 2 bags of the more expensive this year, and kind of have about 3/4 of that left. But what I love about it also is it gets in between a lot of different things, that you don't intend on it, but after it starts growing in, like cracks in concrete or,
You're exactly
and it
right.
really is pretty, and it's not going to take over anything. It's not going to be unbearable, but it does add that little bit of color and green as things start browning.
That's right.
And it really pops. I mean, if you're talking from an artistic standpoint, it's a nice little popping color.
For example, if you, like Lance, have taken out a tree, you got a big mess, and it certainly, believe me, the rain will come. You don't want, you don't want to give yourself a mud hole. That's another good reason to use the ryegrass in that setting. And I'm all for it. I'm very for it.
And then as we were talking, it'll be a situation where I go back and plant a much more permanent solution as we get through the winter.
We'll get into
and back
next
on
spring
the
and
other
do
side.
that.
Right.
Absolutely. Beautiful asters and lantana, and I tell you what, there's nothing like an arbor with hyacinth bean on it. That is so pretty. Thank you for sending us those photos. That's lovely.
Oh, I cut I had a wisteria, 2 of them. One of them grows against a arbor type, and it really has a good foundation there. Over the years, it had kind of run down the hill a little bit underneath a couple things, and did it very, very sneaky, and made itself. It came up in a pot, and made basically a wisteria tree. And so when I tried to remove it years ago, I realized that it had come up through the bottom of a pot. So it's rooted to the ground all the way back over to the main one. And it really grew a big tree out of it. So I finally cut that down recently, and man, what a difference that made with. I didn't realize how big it had gotten.
Well,
and so I'll start it over again.
Sometimes it really is just a matter of time.
Boy, how did that thing have gotten big?
You leave it alone, that wisteria will get wherever it can get.
I had it chained to the fence. It had gotten so big it was kind of pulling the pole over. So I'm like, I better cut this back a little bit.
That's funny. I love that, though. That's really a joyful thing to hear about. Listen now, we got some questions to answer. We've got some ideas for you. We got a morning to do. Stick around. This is the Garden Mama Show. Ah, yes. Little green onions, my friends. It is, in fact, time. If you have not planted your garlic, think allium, think onion, think garlic, think leeks. Time to do all that. Get yourselves busy. If you don't have it in your salad garden, your kitchen garden, you will wish you did.
I was thinking of the country-pleasing green onion flavored sausage.
That's not a problem either.
It's football season, right?
That's right. I have no problem with that. Just have to get the mustard hot enough that you dip it in.
Oh, of course, yeah. They make some that I got. It was some boutique name brand. I don't even remember it, but it was like jalapeno mustard. Boy, it was delicious. It was some ways out of Louisiana.
No quitting. Somebody out here
delicious,
doing all that. Yeah, that's for sure. Now, I love when people ask a good question. They're all good questions. I do, of course, sometimes give really bad answers, but I think I can do this one. What was the name that I said? I said Gondwana. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gondwana land is the part that I'm talking about, where it's the supercontinent that is really, frankly, most of what is left on the earth in terms of of that. That's what that is. But what is Pangea is what our correspondent asked, and the answer to that is that's when all of the solid earth part, the soil and the grounds and the mountains and the rocks and all that were all joined together. That was Pangea, and then it began to split apart in the Jurassic era. But eventually the different parts of it became known as different things, is how I was taught. And I did look it up during the break to make sure I wasn't remembering it wrong, and that is what I'm able to find out. So that's the difference. Another question was about, I'm not going to make a psychological determination here, but there are people who have a not so happy reaction when our program is taken over by sports. Now, don't forget, that's why SuperTalk.fm exists. That's why SuperTalk.tv, of course, it's not really, but that's why we use it. So if I'm not on the radio, you can still find me on the stream. And the same is true for the Handyman Show. Okay? Okay. Now, all of that being said, the question beyond that was, how do you listen after that? And the question was, do you sell your coffee in the little pods? The answer is no, we don't, but we will if that's what you want. Send me an email, mamaonair@yahoo.com. The Garden Mama Blend coffee is going over very, very well, and I'm happy to tell you that y'all are being real sweet, buying bunches of it, and we got plenty to sell. So come on and enjoy it. Yes, there are other blends, and we can give you that information if you care about it. Just mamaonair@yahoo.com, and we will let you know. Okay? Okay. I have I have 2 or 3 things that I think are very important at this time of the year. And I refer to some of this as sort of my random thoughts. Well, today I'm going to give you some not so random thoughts. But let's have a phone call first. Who's on the phone for us?
We have Mr. Robert in Ripley, and he had a follow-up conversation or question regarding the wisteria we were just talking about.
Yeah. Good. Hey, Robert, welcome in. What's on your mind today? We all love wisteria. We love wisteria, but whoo!
Yeah, I know. I think I have asked you this in the past. This part of it, I have a standalone pecan tree out in the middle of a real wide open space that it's upwind from our house. So the prevailing wind would take it right toward our house. For the scent of it, it's a perfect place for it. And I plan to put one there. But you were talking.
We'll have to try.
There he is.
There he is.
Plan to put a vegetable garden in there. Plant some vegetables, and I don't know what to expect about just how far the roots of wisteria will go. Of course, it gets mowed. All of that gets mowed right now, and so it would control that. But once we start planting things there and don't mow it, that could be a problem. So what is the distance? What's a safe distance away from a wisteria vine to plant something like that and not expect it to start popping up all over our beans?
If you're in Ripley, probably Taylorsville, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, well, okay.
Here's the thing. The good news is that once you get far enough away from that pecan tree to have enough sunlight to actually put in a vegetable patch, you're going to be pretty close to the limits of what that wisteria can do if you ignore it, all right? If you ignore it for 20 years, or maybe even 5, it's going to go, half a football field, but it's still only going to make a sprout on the other end. It's not going to be able to grow into a tree for quite a bit of time. So you do have to watch for it. On the other hand, if you're containing it in the space that you got it, training it up and whatnot, you're going to be doing that anyway. So you could make a slight raised bed for the vegetable garden, just maybe a 1x6 or something, not some, tall thing, but just a little bit so that you do have a little bit more space around it that has been cultivated. But I don't really think there'll be a problem as long as you are aware of the fact that that funny-looking sprout coming up out in the middle of what will be turf or a walkway between the beds or something could be wisteria in 5 or 6 years. That would be my best advice. I don't think you're going to have a problem because you're aware of it. When we're not aware of it, for instance, when my neighbor cut down his cedar tree, I didn't even know there was wisteria on the other side of it. So I ignored it. And the next thing I knew, they were coming up everywhere. I thought, that's cute. I'll keep 1 or 2 or 10. And then it turned into a whole lot more than that. But mowing them and cutting them down frequently got rid of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Have fun. Thank you. That sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Wisteria climbing up a pecan tree.
Yeah, with the breeze blowing toward the house when those wisteria start blooming.
Beautiful aromas.
That's the thing. I was laughing with them. Like, I love the smell. I love the flower. And it's an absolutely beautiful plant as it grows and matures out. But man, it will drop some stuff and it'll eat up your sun in an area quick.
True.
So and
that's the other reason I said is when you get away far enough from it to put in the vegetable bed, it'll be a different place, different setting. So I like your attitude,
feet.
Though.
Mine's probably 30 feet is where it went off of the main line and came up. And over years, it just it matured into another tree. It took years, probably 15 years though. So I've got about 8 stumps there that'll always come back unless I do something.
If we just ignore it, it will take whatever space, And frankly, sometimes particularly because it will come up in the shade, you don't necessarily mow all the time in those areas. And that's another reason, well, you got to walk the garden every day. You got to take a look at it, see what that is before that wisteria comes out the ground and strangles you. We don't need that to happen.
Those things are sneaky now,
Listen, now I got another note for you in addition to telling you about the stream. Right now, y'all have some of the coolest emails. This is from the Harris family farm. They're at the Pontotoc Farmers Market. That goes on every Saturday, I believe, 8 to 12, I think, are their hours. Today, as long as the supplies last, you can build yourself a scarecrow.
Oh,
so
cool.
Get yourself on over there. It's Water Valley, one of our favorite parts of the world. And there's some beautiful things there, mouth-watering.
The Blue Devils are having a good season, too.
Gorgeous stuff. Well, see, that's another reason. Go say hello to everybody.
Yeah,
but I'm happy to tell you that they have their garlic, and they have lots of plants to sell, and they have all these beautiful things. Appreciate them letting us know about them. It's non-GMO plants, and of course, Pontotoc is such a cool place anyway. But Harris Family Farm and my buddies there, they're certified naturally grown. If you don't know what that is, trust me, it's important.
I watched The Legend of Sleepy Hollow again. It'd been a while, the Johnny Depp version.
Did you really?
Oh, man, that's so visually pleasing for this time of year. That pumpkins and everything.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
man,
beautiful.
It really is a Tim Burton movie,
But what a funny...
oh, yeah.
I was talking about some Halloween decorations this week, and I said it looked like Disney had hit Tim Burton in the head, because there were Ursulas, and there were sea creatures, and there were also large skeletons and Jack in the Suit and the whole business, all in one front yard. It was, everybody has something, everybody's got an idea they want to put into it. I love that. I'll tell you something we're not celebrating today, Lance. We are not celebrating No Beard Day. Now,
I'm sorry, I'm on the phone, Jim.
Now, why is that? Why would we be saying that? Well, because today is National No Beard Day. I think this was probably started by barbers or, perhaps angry parents. I'm not really sure, but we are not going to celebrate
the New York
this.
Yankees, I think, or was it
Well,
Mark Schott or the New York Yankees?
I thought about that this week. There have been different times, when you can't. Mark Schott with the Cubs not the Cubs, with the Reds wouldn't let them have beards for a long time, and then again suddenly they got whoever it was, Raleigh Fingers, or I don't even know who it was.
I don't even know what you can call
some
that.
pitcher that had all the hair on his face, and they went, well, okay.
Yeah, Raleigh had the mustache.
He had a mustache that went past his ears. Anyway, tell me who's on the phone.
Well, we have Miss Anna, and she had some comments about wisteria as well.
Oh, good.
Miss Anna, you are ready to go.
Hey, Anna.
Okay.
Do you grow purple?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, do you grow purple or white?
No, I cut it down. I do have one which is left in form of a tree. Mm-hmm. But I was wondering, the person that complained about it, there are two native wisterias, and they're not meant to be as as aggressive.
Oh yeah, that's an entirely different plant. They're just as beautiful, almost as aromatic, and certainly better behaved.
Well, I hear the aromatic is not as pleasant as the non-native one.
No, it's not, but it's okay. But it's not, you wouldn't want it right outside your window. Let's put it that way. I would.
Yeah, but you were also talking about Gondwanaland and the other one. I can't remember the name.
Mm-hmm,
Well, I'm working on a presentation of paleobotany, and that sort of comes to mind because I've, learning about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, these discoveries in Ecuador are the latest thing, and I'm so excited about it. I'm a big fan of amber anyway, and have always been fascinated by the whole how it forms and how it stays there for so long, and how we even find it. So all of those pieces fit into place in this particular story. So that's wonderful. Gives you another piece of that.
We also have a native hydrangea, because most hydrangeas come from the Orient.
That's right.
But there is a native one, which they found in a place called Anna.
How about that?
To say. And I believe it's in the Midwest, and I'm not quite sure. But because we were joined to the Orient at one time, like billions
Makes
of years
perfectly
ago.
good. Well, it makes perfectly good sense, you know.
So we still have some of our own plants which are native versus the ones from China and Japan.
Yep, some things
thought
just
I'd
got
bring that
cut
up.
off. Some things just got cut off, you know. That's very, very true.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Well, I can't wait.
Well,
We're going to get to learn more paleobotany from you over time. That's great.
Well, history is wonderful. I enjoy it.
Got to learn some history. Folks that don't know what happened yesterday, you know, have a little trouble figuring out what's going to happen tomorrow, in my not so humble opinion. I don't keep a garden diary, Anna, I got to admit. But if I did, I would be a lot smarter gardener, because I would know that something. You know, we hear about the ones, those folks that are still keeping their great grandparents' bloom diaries, which have told us how the bloom times have changed over the centuries. You know, that sort of stuff.
Well,
I don't do that. I wish I did, but I just never caught up into that part of the process.
Well, I'm sending my I got a couple of granddaughters and then 3 grandsons, but granddaughters because they're more interested in this sort of thing. I'm sending them my history of my mother and family.
That's wonderful.
And some photographs and things like that. I figure if anything, they will carry on.
Well, and again, knowing something about where you came from is a whole lot more informing of where you're going to be in the future. That's true.
Well, who knows?
I was thinking about some of my ancestors, you know, got starved out of places. And some of my ancestors in fact, several different versions of my relatives got starved out of places. And I just think about how difficult, you know, you think, well, my life is tough, this and that, and the other, you go, no, I'm not starving to death. You know, I'm not having to leave Ireland because nothing will grow. I'm not, you know, I mean, there's just so many things that if we don't know about them, we don't understand how much progress we've made.
Right. Well, I've got family all over the world, so Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, here, Canada.
See, I consider that that tells me that your family is curious and always seeking, and that's exactly how you are. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Okay, well, thank you. I mentioned the wisteria.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. The native ones, of course, are, well, as they say, better behaved. Slightly better behaved anyway, that's for sure. I know that there are several different approaches to propagating plants. I want to talk about that a little bit today. I also want to let you know about something going on that's never happened before. What will that be? I don't know. Stick around. We'll be right back. Yeah, we're having a little seasonal fun this morning. SuperTalk.tv, in case you're wondering why you hear the smile in my voice quite so much. I'm telling you, Hawk needs this costume, Lance. It's just got to happen.
Definitely. He's already kind of got it. He's got the spotted lightning.
I was going to say, he's got the spots. Yeah, he does. He absolutely does.
What was Gondwana's northern cousin named? Or maybe brother or sister?
What?
Well, I mean, it was the whole northern hemisphere. So you had Gondwana and you had blank, and that was all Pangea at one point.
All together, yeah.
Yeah, all together.
Yeah.
Laurasia. Yeah.
Laurasia.
L-A-U-R-A-S-I-A.
Yeah, I've read that one somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I sure have.
Because Gondwana seems to have been South America
botany thing today.
Yeah, that's why I love that conversation. Being a historian type person, South America, Africa, India, Antarctica, and Australia glued together made up Gondwana.
Yep. And that's why being able to find Southern Hemisphere amber is such a big deal. There were people, I mean, I've read papers from a long time ago that said there really wasn't any way that it could form in those conditions. And at the time I thought, oh, okay, but, you know, I'm not amber, so I don't know. But it didn't make any sense that they couldn't, and so there they are. You know, that's really great. A couple of good questions on our text line this morning. My houseplant doesn't look healthy. I've let it dry out, given it plant food, taken it outside. It still looks unhealthy. It gets filtered light where it is. What am I doing wrong? Thanks, Kathy. Well, Kathy, I think you are looking at a version of pothos ivy that is actually paler green. But, yes, the yellowing is too much. As long as it's got good drainage in the bottom of the container so that for example, when you water it, water runs through the pot, not instantaneously, but it can drain out the bottom. I would tell you that the best approach to this one, because it is in filtered light, is going to be to water it well, and then don't water it again until it feels dry up to your first knuckle. It doesn't need to dry out the entire container. It's not like those succulents that I'm talking about, the Senezios and other ones that have a real need to dry out completely. But in this particular case, I think it's just probably staying a little too wet generally. That's why I'm seeing a little bit longer space between the internodes. That's also a light thing, so you might want to give it a little bit more light. But if this plant was bright green when you got it, you're definitely going to need to give it more light, slowly increase that, and probably feed it again a couple more times. But I think you're looking at a pale green hybrid, and I do like it. I have one too. I think they're pretty, but it is for contrast. Okay. Turnip greens. Really nice, Jeff. Thank you so much. That's beautiful. Turnip greens are planted, and the remains of that glass Jim Hopi corn is in the background. That's a really pretty scene. I could sit in the middle of that, couldn't I, Lance?
No, definitely. That'd be a great scene. The deer would be there in 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say just about a moment.
Out of your hand, probably.
That's really beautiful, though. That's lovely.
I planted a bunch of turnip greens for deer out at deer camp a couple years ago and some food plots. Buddy, you talking about some happy deer.
I was going to say, they're still singing your praises. The grass and
mix never even got touched. I put out like 3 or 4 bags of turnip seeds, and boy, they started sprouting up.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
if you got somebody planting that for you, of course you're going to eat that, for goodness sakes. One of the things that I'm planting to be eaten more and more of is always lettuce. I think at this time of the year we begin seeing all the garden writers, all the ready set lettuce, lettuce leaf, all those kinds of jokes and one thing and another that we do. But this is entirely my point of view, so it's not entirely random. My random ideas on other things are sometimes fun and sometimes not, but my ideas on lettuce are hard-earned. Yes, lettuce is okay to plant from the seed tapes or the little seed pellets, pellets put into circles of really nice little cloth. You'll find those, sometimes you'll get them at weddings. But if you have that, or if you run into the seed tape somewhere, sure, that's a great way to do it. Don't have to, certainly, but it does make it easy to put the lettuce seeds where you want them to be. The thing you need to remember, of course, about lettuce seeds inside that you're going to maybe transplant later or maybe give as a gift to somebody, for coming up in the next several months, you do need to have 2 things. You need to have a really good heat source underneath the pots because it speeds the process up so much. The heating mat that you can purchase at the garden center is perfect for that. And you also need to understand that the seeds need to be in contact with the soil, but they don't really need to be buried because they need some sunlight on them in order for them to sprout. So when you plant lettuce seeds outside, they say, well, it's awfully dry out here. I can't just push the seeds into the soil. That's where we go in and put a plastic wrap, or we put a plastic board, or even a glass shelf that you got laying around. Put that on top of there, and that until they sprout. Another reason you have to look at your garden every day, but you go out every day until they do sprout, and then that's when you take it off of there. But it's real important to understand the way lettuce grows, and it grows with sunlight, and it also grows. Its roots are real fibrous and very, very shallow. So when you're looking at putting your seeds in the ground, you really would rather not put them as close as we inevitably do. Even if you're sowing a pot full of mesclun, they're still going to need an inch between individual plants to do really well. Well, that's okay. They're too thick. We can thin them. And that's, of course, gives us a little bite to eat as soon as they pop up. So that doesn't hurt anybody's feelings either. I do have another suggestion for you. If you grow lettuce in containers, and oftentimes these would be the containers that maybe you had tomatoes in last summer or, something else, go ahead and plant half of that in lettuce. But leave yourself a little bit of room for something else. You might want to stick in maybe just some thyme, or you might just want to put some pansies in there to be pretty. Why not? Give yourself the opportunity to put those pots to use. You've already used them once. You're going to add fertilizer to them as you're growing something else in them. Obviously, you're not going to grow potatoes or tomatoes in that same soil, but you do have plenty of other things that you can use that soil for. So I advise that you do that. when you grow lettuces and mesclunes, I like to see them being fed with a fairly strong but not completely mixed solution. In other words, 2/3 as strong as they would tell you on the label of some soluble fertilizer. Use that every week. And here's the if, there's always an if your lettuce ends up being a little too soft-leafed, these are going to be soft-leaf lettuces, leaf lettuce as well as the mesclunes, as well as, individual semi-soft heads, are not going to be stiff like romaine. But if you find that they're a little bit too wimpy, then that's the time, of course, to give yourself a chance. Back off on the fertilizer. Go to something lower in nitrogen and only use it every other week. You can grow some lettuce. Believe me, there's red lettuce, there's green lettuce, there's dark green lettuce, there's ruffly lettuce, there's all of these things. And, of course, then we get into mesclune mixes with so many different leaves in them. But they're all going to do well for you, and they're going to be great, and they're going to feed you. And I'll tell you what, every time you go to the grocery and see how much more expensive lettuce is getting, you're going to be really glad you can grow it all the way through the winter. So get yourself busy with some lettuce. I'm for it. Corinne says she transplanted a whole lot of spider lilies last year, and several of the leaves are coming up. Will they bloom this year? Well, if they are the lycoris, if they are the traditional red spider, and the leaves are coming up, they're not going to bloom this year. But that's okay. We wouldn't really expect them to. On the other hand, if it is Hymenocallis, or the one that makes a clump and puts out white flowers, we wouldn't want it to bloom until next spring. So we'll either have flowers in the spring, if it's to be the white ones, or next summer in order to get you those nice bright red spider lilies. You know what? I think we've got our friend in with us. We're going to get out of here, but guess coming back, I heard a rumor that Mark's got a surprise for me. I can't wait to see what that is. Thanks for your attention. Don't go anywhere. This is the Garden Mama Show. Shake them a little bit.
I usually set mine out and take like the watering wand and kind of give them a little shower, hours before I'm going to bring them in. Tap them on the ground, make sure there's nobody coming. The cats wouldn't mind at all if I brought one in the house, but
Well, that's true.
You never know when you might have company.
And every now and then there is a lizard that decides to create a sacrificial situation. I'll grant you that. I've seen it myself.
They do. And our Scooter, he is a lizard lover. He'll stare out the window.
But the lizards are a good thing.
People
who are afraid of them always mystify me, because the lizards are going to take care of your plants. They clean them up. They don't really do anything except, tease the cats.
Exactly. Yeah, and, that's on my list of to-dos. I got to decide who's going to the greenhouse, who's coming, into the house.
Who do you want to live with? Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you make those choices?
Gosh, I make it based on the plant. Like my fiddle leaf fig, I would not dare try the greenhouse, because if anything were to go awry, it would not make it.
Well,
they're very
it also is so easily, mishandled too.
Yes, they're
Something
so
falls
sensitive.
on it, it gets overwatered, any of those things. That's true. And those thick leaves can take the indoor conditions.
Yes, if something goes wrong with a fiddle leaf, it's usually pretty disastrous.
I have to say, they are not. They're not going to send you the Dear John letter. They're just going to croak.
They're just going, yeah. And then the other things that are, I know can take a little, that dip. Should we have a rough winter, I'll put them out there. And our friend Becky, she was like, her best piece of advice is, don't overcrowd your greenhouse with big stuff, because I'm going to be wanting to propagate and start things. So I don't want to cram it full of, all of our giant things, and then I won't have any room to work.
Right. So, you still have to have a bench and hopefully a chair to sit in, because it's really pleasant in the greenhouse.
Oh, yes.
It's a nice place to spend a little time.
So, that's on the list, and, I'm kind of trying to get things put to bed.
I'm curious, though. Do you plant pansies? Do you plant snapdragons? Or do they just have to wait for inspiration? Because we think about changing the season, but it's already Halloween practically, and frankly, this is really the first cool weather that we've been running into. I'm
not going to plant any until we get some rain.
There you go.
I planted like 3 6-packs a few weeks ago, and I've had about a 2/3 survival rate because it's been so hot.
Right,
They just don't like it. You know, and the garden centers really want you to go earlier, but you know, I really think Halloween for us in central Mississippi is kind of my starting point.
I like it. I like it very much. It's also important for folks to understand that as temperatures do cool off, these houseplants don't need as much water.
Right.
When you bring them in the house, they don't need as much water. And, you know, probably my first day of horticulture school, the drilled into my head, perhaps tattooed on my back, I'm not really sure, says more plants in containers die from being overwatered than any other cause. And so it's important to, I know it sounds like it's preachy, but if you put those big pots in the greenhouse, you're probably not going to water them very often.
No.
If you put them in the big house, they're going to be watered even less. You know, they may dry out just a little bit if they have thin leaves or something, but it's really important to monitor that.
You know, and this is the nerdy side of gardening, the scientific side.
The most fun.
You have to think about evaporation levels. You know, as the days get shorter, you know, the natural evaporation, regardless of what the plant takes up, is going to be less.
Yes, because there's less of that whole thing triggered because the weather is changing.
Yeah, so, you know,
light's different.
I kind of nerd out on that. I really pay close attention to it. And it's like, if you notice the pool's evaporating quickly, then you better water the plants.
Well, that's true.
I mean, it's a great marker.
It is true. And inside your house, oftentimes, you know, the traditional is bring your plants indoors before you have to turn on the heater.
Right.
Because that's going to dry them out, too.
And that's why I'm feeling a little guilty. I probably should have already started, but we've been kind of busy putting up Halloween decorations, so we're going to have to focus.
There's a whole world of that.
Oh,
There's
there
a whole
is.
world of that. You talk about putting everything to bed and this and that, but you guys, you know, that the decorating people don't have time to mess with much else.
Not really.
There's so much to going on. But it's part of the fun, you know.
It is.
It's just part of the fun.
It's part of the garden. You know, and right now it's actually taken over the garden a little bit. But, you know, the things that are kind of waning, like the hostas, really need to be cut back. Well, they kind of look Halloweenish, so I'm going to let them hang out.
Well, see,
at least until after.
And you can make those choices. You know, it's your. That's the other thing. It's all your plants.
It is.
I was looking at the cannas here that are forming seed pods. I'm going to paint them for Halloween before I cut them off.
There you go. There you go. Put a little glitter on them.
Decorate just a little bit. Paula sends her good mornings to you, Mark. And we've got a question about how do you help potted plants thrive indoors through the winter? That's a good question. Mine, it's again, look at them every day, see what's going on.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, don't overwater them. It's really important.
And give them a turn every now and then.
Oh yeah, please.
You know, if they're all going to start growing to the light.
That's right.
Know.
That's right.
And you know, every so often go around.
Things will stretch
spin
sometimes.
them.
Yeah, just turn them and they'll spin. They'll start stretching the other way. That's very true. The other thing that I've noticed as well over time is that if I put myself on a schedule and I actually fertilize those plants with a slow release product when I take them in the house, you know, something like good old Osmocote or one of those things. This is not the plants I eat, so don't start talking to me. These are just these are my pretty babies. They get that, so that if I forget to fertilize them for Christmas, you know, because you still have to give them a little bit of fertilizer.
Right.
But if I use a slow release, I find that it makes me feel better. And, you know, it's okay to put a reminder on your calendar that says Thanksgiving week, Christmas week, fertilize your indoor plants. You know, it's just one more thing. You're doing 1,000 things anyway. You may as well do one more.
Absolutely. You know, I don't practice what I preach on this one, but, you know, start you a gardening journal. I think everybody should have one. I don't.
Anna and I were talking about that. I wish I did. I didn't do that. If there are random notes floating around about every garden that I have ever worked in, and that's a shame because they're not coordinated.
I would be out of ink if I wrote down everything I should have written down. But
and probably the bad news is that eventually we'll just be able to speak, and it will all go into some, you know, archive of our own stuff.
Exactly.
I'm still waiting for that to happen for me.
Yeah, and sadly enough, folks, you know, 3 days ago it looked really promising that we were going to get some rain.
Well,
not so much today.
Not so much.
No.
It does change and shift in terms of this, because we're trying to get through fall and into winter, but things are not cooperating with us. We've got,
It's not.
The weather is not giving us what we need to do.
It is so dry.
We are not celebrating No Beard Day, by the way.
Oh, no, we're not. I saw that, by the way, but it is.
Just in case.
It is.
Chocolate Cupcake Day.
And I bought one. I'm going to feed Lance a chocolate cup. Well, I'm going to let Lance eat it. I'm not going to feed him, but.
Thank goodness. We'll let him give it to Hawk if he wants to, but really don't want to feed the dog too much chocolate.
That was a great surprise this morning.
He's a joy. He's such a sweetheart.
Yes.
What a great pup. It's also, my friends, just in case y'all didn't already know this one, it's Mashed Potato Day. Now, I prefer to think of it as the dance, not the food. But the food, the reason the dance looks like the dance looks is because of the food. So for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, you now have something on your Google list to do today. Look up the mashed potato. It is a song, it is a dance, and it is a cuisine. So,
I'll take the food.
I was so surprised when I
I'll
found
take
out
the
that
food.
shepherd's pie had mashed potatoes on top of it. I never knew what that was. I'd only ever seen a brown crust, and I had no idea.
Yes.
It's going as a little kid. It's like, what is this? Wait a minute.
I love that.
Great
I
dish.
love that dish.
Great dish.
It is a
Wonderful.
great one. It is a great
So much
one.
fun.
So how's the weather in your part of the world?
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Is it?
We're looking for some rain, just like everybody everywhere else. Maybe even get some in the next 24 hours. We'll see.
Yes.
I say that every day.
I've got an exciting thing happening
Tell me.
tomorrow. I'm super excited. I get to go hang out with the Jackson Old Garden Rose Society.
Ooh, nice
And
folks.
do
Old
it.
Garden Rose folks are terrific.
They are. That's the grassroots rose people.
Smart.
Yeah, so I get to go hang out with them tomorrow and talk about companions plants for roses. So if
Love
anybody
that.
has any great suggestions, although I have quite a list.
Well, and here's the thing. When we talk about something as specific as Old Garden Roses, we're generally not talking about hybrid teas that you cut for the vase, but you can include that because there are some old varieties of actually tea roses like Aloha that we grow for the stemmed plant. But these folks know about all the different levels of that and what's easier and what's harder and what you can maintain at 3 feet and what's going to take over the side of your house.
Right.
I'm thinking mermaid.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
there's some that they literally know that stuff, and it's so much fun really fun to get to know those folks because they know so much. They're so smart.
And it's always fun when you go to these things because you're going to know some of them, and then you walk in the room and you know all of them.
Well, and you get to meet some new people always.
Yes, it's always fun networking.
Oh, this is a text from Shannon in Hattiesburg. She has a canna that doesn't care for its spot. It's definitely aging faster than she would like it to. It's brown, it's going dormant, and so forth and so on. Should I wait to relocate it to a bucket or to the ground, or would it be too shocking now? Actually, it wouldn't. And particularly if it rains in Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
After the rain, you
Yes,
have a
yes,
great
yes, yes.
opportunity to dig that canna. Cut it down to about the bottom set of leaves, those 3 sets of leaves, dig the whole clump up and put it somewhere that has, I would say, more shade and heavier soil. And I never say that, but cannons can take that.
Yeah.
And that'll give it an opportunity to recover.
And if you have a damp spot, boy, they really like that
They
too.
Love that.
They love it.
So, fun can. I love cannas.
Mine won't quit this year.
No, these are, the ones here are beautiful. Yeah.
It's like the summer that will never end. I know it's going to probably come to an abrupt halt.
I
There's
think
going to
there's
be
probly a
snow.
four-season song about that,
Yeah, we're probably going to have a white Thanksgiving. Who knows?
Oh, my goodness. Listen at him.
Who knows? I did discover something crazy in the garden. We're doing that rehab in the back.
Yeah.
So my little small...
This is the every so often the raised beds have to be reset.
That's right.
Well, when you reset that, it starts. You ever fix the sink, and immediately you fix something, and the thing behind it breaks? It's like that's how raised beds can be.
Exactly.
sometimes.
So I have, liberated everything out of there. It's the garden, the little small one. I had cucumbers and cherry tomatoes and basil and all this stuff in it. and I'm cleaning it out, and I look down, and there's a 6-8 inch kale that has gone all summer up under this stuff. And I mean, but what are you going to do with one kale?
Plant another one.
How did it make it through that summer?
Well, that's the thing. I always have said, as soon as you say, "Oh, that won't work," guess what? 10 people will call you and tell you it works in the garden.
Yeah, don't ever say never.
Don't ever say never.
They will prove you wrong.
And, of course, kale that's been through this all the way through is probably going to make it all winter, too. I mean, that's wild.
I mean...
Or at least turn into some good kale chips.
There you go. Yeah, it was amazing. And, those peppers are... Lance, I know you'll love this. You may still get more peppers. They won't stop.
Bring them on, buddy.
It will not stop.
Are these
That's
the
the way mine
bananas
were last year. They just kept producing and producing.
Yeah.
I had the cayennes, bananas, and
That's
jalapenos, and they
That's
just
right.
kept pumping them out, man. You start giving them to people.
The peppers that won't quit.
I was making the best salads.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
It was all pepper salads, basically.
Pepper salad. There you go. Hey, pepper salad.
And
I've got a
let's
piece
face
of kale you can put in it.
See,
Wrap it up. Yeah,
See,
like
it's
a
another case
pepper
where
wrap.
we have an abundance. We have an abundance all the time. No question about that. That's great. What fun. Tell me which pepper, though. Is it the bananas that are making, or
A sweet banana that just won't quit, and
that.
a couple of jalapenos. And I mean, I quit watering those babies weeks, months ago.
They actually are happy about that.
I know.
That's the thing about peppers in the fall. You see, they have developed their roots over the regular summer waterings and summer rains and stuff, so they're kind of on their own. They can take care of themselves. Not bell peppers. Not bell peppers.
Oh no. No.
Not ornamental peppers.
Story.
But hot peppers, just traditional, Hungarian wax or sweet wax, or even some of the things like poblanos and whatnot will just keep going and keep going. And that's fun. That's great.
And then I think I'm going to have to get a backhoe to move my Mexican mint marigold. The thing is huge.
Now, if y'all don't know Mexican mint marigold, you may know it as taquitos, but it is the prettiest yellow flower, apart from a mum, that you're going to have in your fall garden.
It's
and
loaded.
The good news is that the leaves, when they're fresh, taste like tarragon, just enough that we use it as a substitute, because so many of us have spent a lot of money trying to grow tarragon without much success.
There you
I know
go.
there's people out there. There are people who can grow lavender. There are people who can grow tarragon. In Hattiesburg, for instance. It's not me. I've never been good with those two, and I'm probably not going to get good. But I sure do appreciate it. Sure do appreciate it.
Even I look at tarragon in a garden center, and my knees kind of tremble. I'm like, no.
Let me just leave the money here, because I'll never get it to grow.
Not happening. It is not happening.
Oh, my goodness. You're right. That's funny.
That's a tough one.
Are you a pumpkin carver?
I love it. This year I haven't gotten into the pumpkin thing. I don't know that I'm
We were
going
discussing
to.
plastic versus real pumpkins.
Yeah.
And, of course, Lance has real plastic pumpkins.
Real
plastic pumpkins.
And if you need inspiration, watch Legend of Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp. Too.
5 or 6 times.
Yeah, that'll get you going.
Yeah. I may have to do a little pumpkin carving with the neighbors' grandkids. They always do that. It's kind of
that's
fun.
fun.
And I used to be able to do that on the clock. I carved many a pumpkin when I was at a garden center. But I haven't done that. Thanks, Lance, for reminding me.
It's a good
Something
idea.
else I need to
That's
put
one
on
more
my
thing
list.
On that list. Add that.
Carve pumpkins.
Well, we think about movies at this time of the year, and everybody talks about, what their favorite this or that, horror, one thing or another is. I'm really intrigued by the things that are underground. We can talk about it. We can consider it. We'll see.
Inner Earth, huh?
Yeah, Inner Earth stuff. Journey to the Center and all those kinds of things. Phantom Empire is the one I'm intrigued by today. But anyway, we got that to talk about. We got plants. Peaches is here. Lance is here. And I'm here. I'm the Garden Mama. Glad you're here. Thank you for listening. Stick around.
That'd make you a Martian, right?
It would. It would.
Hey, and I don't have Mark on a high chair. I had to just so you know, it kind of looks like he's up a little bit. I wanted to make sure we could see the medley of awesomeness that he brought us this morning. So.
That's marvelous stuff, too.
I mean, I
love
can
all that.
shrink if you need me to.
No, it's just, I want to make y'all think that he grew like 8 inches over the last time.
I've been texting with Dell about moving a rose bush right now, and I think he's got a good project going on. When your mama wants to give you a rose bush, you got to be careful,
Yes, yes.
He was on the right track, cutting it down to about 3 feet tall to dig it up. I said, yes, wait till it rains. Prepare the soil first where it's going to go, and then, of course, root the cuttings.
Exactly. It's that time of year, folks.
It really is. If this is what the laugh in my family always was, that the plants look just the same at everybody's house. And that's because at Thanksgiving, everybody took plants around and added them to each other and swapped.
Right.
So you ended
It's
up
time
with the
to
same
trade.
rose bush and the same this and the same that. It's really the perfect time.
That would be a good tradition. Thanksgiving dinner, you have to bring a covered dish and a plant.
And a plant for somebody else. I like it.
Yeah.
New kind of plant swap. Sounds like fun to me.
Great fun. Did you ever find your turkey?
No.
No.
Not yet. I have a couple of weeks to find. Turkey's here somewhere.
That's funny.
So this came, this whole business about Journey to the Center of the Earth and all of the other silliness that I'm fascinated by, came to us because the Massachusetts Institute of Technology has just found the traces of a lost world below Earth, like in the real, as they say, IRL, in real life. I love this. How do you possibly do this? Well, it's all about the chemical impressions of proto-Earth, because they're finally able to study these things. The Earth not only was all the land joined together and then split apart, but we also had a lot of evidence to tell us along the way that the building blocks that put us into this position are all still there. We just haven't studied everything. So, been fascinated, of course. People in fiction, Jules Verne, they've done, 3 different versions of Journey to the Center of the Earth, and probably cartoons too. I don't even know. But it's like Leon Russell said, you do standards, people pay attention to them. People can record them over and over again. I think his song Masquerade, that was such a big hit for George Benson, 50 other people recorded it before George Benson did. Now, Leon's not complaining. He's like Dolly Parton, Thank you, Whitney Houston, go ahead, I'll crash that check every time. But the point is that there is something that brings you to wanting to examine something over and over again. And what's underneath the surface of the Earth has been that way. There's 24 films about it, different scenarios. Somebody falls in a hole, or somebody, there's all kinds of different ways that people end up at this, having this experience. And it brings us a marvelous bunch of movies, but it also, when we finally find some stuff, that's pretty cool. We actually have somebody that's doing this in real life. I love it. So I want to go back to 1935 and watch the rich supply of radium that is discovered beneath the surface draws unscrupulous speculators.
Well, having grown up in a cave state,
you did,
Missouri, we spent a lot of time as teenagers spelunking and exploring caves that we weren't supposed to be in, and some we were allowed to be in.
Only when the heated pool wasn't working.
That's right, yeah.
Well, and the thing about caves, we had like one, because I'm from Louisiana, but the idea of getting into a cave and realizing that not only did the Earth form this, but it's still here. I mean, I have been to Carlsbad Caverns, and that was life-changing.
We call those culverts here in Mississippi. Yeah.
You messing with me. All right, now I'm going to tell you who the star of The Phantom Empire is, and both of you will then want to watch it with me, so we will have to make a screening date for that. It stars Gene Autry, the singing cowboy. So I feel sure there's music in here somewhere.
Gene
I'm
Autry.
telling you, everybody wants to know what's going on beneath our feet. It's just like, finally we know a few more things about what's going on in the ocean. But now we got to get under the earth too, because we all want to know that. We all want.
Somebody drilled a big deep hole recently. They said it drilled to almost hit the Earth's mantle or something, or the piece underneath us. Everything sits on. You have what's his name's hole.
Yeah,
that one, and then you got the one the Russians drilled the super deep.
What was that guy's name?
Yeah, what is his? Not Joe's hole. It was something like that. I'll look it up here in a minute. It's something like that, though. But and it's out west. But I mean, those go far enough down where nobody's been able to actually get to the bottom of them.
No, people used to broadcast from there to Art Bell. I mean,
That's right.
Bell.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few documentaries on that.
Art Bell, many a night, midnight,
Hero.
hanging out listening to Art Bell.
Here's a good question. My mom's bird's nest fern. Y'all know bird's nest ferns? I love that plant. Has a few brown tips. Gets filtered light. How much light, water, and fertilizer does it need?
Mel's hole. I'm sorry.
Mel, that's who it is.
I knew it was like
right.
Joe, but
I can see him in my head. But I couldn't.
you couldn't
call his
find the
name.
bottom after 80,000 feet. So I mean, didn't even reach it after 80,000 feet.
No, couldn't go any further.
At what point could that be detrimental?
Oh, about 60,000.
I mean,
Ask all the sheep that are down there.
Yeah, exactly.
oh my.
Back to the bird's nest
Yes.
fern just for a moment. To me, if the tips are browning, it could be that the container is too tight for the roots of that plant. But it's also possible that it's just used up its soil, so it might be pot bound itself, or it might just not be able to get what it needs. That plant shouldn't do that if it's not in too much light. So I'm going to say repot it and give it a looser soil, but don't forget to water it regularly. That one can't dry out between waterings.
And I have seen bird's nest maybe be a little sensitive to chlorinated and tap water.
Ah, that's true.
Yes.
That can be.
So
depending on how your water source is.
Yeah, I would.
And of course,
suggest-
sometimes watering it from the bottom can help, not with
Yes.
that particular problem, but with just
Yes.
keeping the leaves dry,
Yeah, that and calathea. That one's
Yeah.
real sensitive to
Yeah.
tap water. Very sensitive.
I have one that's
Rain
trying to kill
barrels.
itself right now. Ooh,
Don't
look
do
at
that.
Mike from Hattiesburg. Beautiful Calamondin Turin orange, finally. That's just beautiful. The Filipino lemonade made from them is fantastic. Yes, it is. And the marinade for fish is very nice. Oh, I would like that. I would like the marinade. That's a good one. Beautiful plant. Beautiful plant. He's probably... I hope that you follow me on the social medias, because I was also putting up pictures of limes yesterday. So yours is prettier.
There you go. And I actually think I might have spotted our first Sasanqua flower this morning.
Good. It's about time.
Isn't it, though?
It's about time.
Isn't it, though?
These buds are out here just do-do-do-do-do-do,
Yeah, yeah.
They've been on there for ages, but they can't open without a little bit of moisture. So
I'm pretty sure I saw one. I love that season, too. I really do.
it's also the time as soon as you see them blooming, go turn the leaf over. If
Yes.
there's webs back there, if there's sticky little critters, this is a good time before all the flowers get open to spray the leaves and the stems with neem to take care of that problem, now that it's
Yeah.
cool enough to use neem.
And there's a real good chance you're going to see a little bit of that,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Especially on the older ones, like the ones we have are, Sasanquas, and, they're 6-8 feet tall. They'd be 12 if we didn't mow them down every now and then. And I'm pretty.
doesn't really need to mow them down.
I'm pretty sure I probably need to spray them, but I'll put that on the
Well, if
list.
you don't do anything else, camellias and sasanquas benefit tremendously from being sprayed with a light oil spray in the wintertime. So you may not get around to treating for the insects,
Yeah.
but you can at least slow down their progress.
I'll
I
do
believe
that. I'll do that right after I carve the pumpkins.
Okay, put it on your
You
list.
better
you
get
go.
busy, man. You seem like you got a lot of work backing up.
You guys are killing me.
We have a large caterpillar that is coming to join us here on the back, but I don't know what kind it is. I'll have to go look. This is from my yard here.
Love it. Yeah, and it's praying mantis season. Boy, they're big this year too.
They're beautiful.
I've seen some monsters, and I don't know if this is actually the name for this, but my dad always called them helgamites.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
an
know that
insect.
term.
I think I sent a photo of it. I'll have to send it to you. But we
It's on there, yeah.
we used to catch those and use them for fishing.
Ah, Okay.
Yeah, it's a huge bug. Yeah, I'll show it to.
My grandfather would take anything that looked like
Yeah.
a caterpillar and use it for fish bait. So,
This-
and I see your what we called them stick bugs, that
Yeah.
one that you sent the picture of.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm sure you have the more proper name. 'Cause
There's probably
Helgamite,
is.
you said. Huh?
I think I want to say my dad called them Helgamites. It's kind of looks like a.
But he didn't like Helga very much, so I'm sorry.
Well, at least it wasn't named after a mother-in-law like everything else.
All my snake plants. Well, we mothers-in-law kind of take that as a badge. You know, we have to have a certain
Absolutely.
attitude about things.
Absolutely.
That's true. Yeah, it could be a grub worm. Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, it certainly could be a grub worm. I have to look a little closer at it.
The bugs in the garden.
The bugs in the garden.
Good news is the toad population is still there. They're not gone yet.
I saw a bunch of little baby ones recently, too, so it must have been
fun.
breeding season. I've seen 5 or 10 of a little bitty inch. You know, they're hiding in the ryegrass. You go walking, and they go everywhere. You're like, oh, okay.
How is the ryegrass, by
That's
the way?
great. I mean,
Happy,
I wish
happy,
my hair
joy,
grew
joy.
as well.
Yeah.
As the ryegrass. So.
Well, you know, when it gets tall enough, you can go out there and braid little sections of it.
Oh, yeah.
And, have a texture in your yard.
I'll
There's
let
a
you come
joke
do
in
that
here,
for me.
something about it being no beard day, but I'm not going to try and get to that one.
No.
We have some people at a very large tailgate sending you pictures, Lance.
Oh, I know. I love it, man. I've got the Yinling, and he's over there in enemy territory in Athens. Game days going on. I'm like, God bless you, brother.
Really very
God bless you.
insulting signs. These are great. These are wonderful.
Oh yeah, you get to see it. I mean, that's the beauty of going on the road, you know, to somebody else's house is, playing in those scenarios is always fun. But being a fan there, you get to experience a lot of interesting stuff. You meet a lot of cool people, and you meet some, rough ones too. So.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say who, but someone in my family has actually seen. Is it West Virginia that sets their couches on fire?
Yeah, it's one of those things they.
Oh my!
They lose. They go inside the den and just burn everything in the yard.
I think if they win too.
Yeah, if they win, I think they burn everything else.
That's a little drastic.
Well, that's what he said.
College football, man. Come on.
I've heard stuff about LSU, but that's crazy.
Now, the most fun I've ever had at an opposing place, playing baseball or visiting in a football environment, is always Baton Rouge. There are caveats, obviously.
There are other places that are
game,
pretty,
But before the game is the best and that you'll ever experience. Ole Miss is really cool, but in Baton Rouge, it's just a hodgepodge, meeting people and eating stuff. You're like, did y'all kill that a minute ago and cook? Yeah, man. Well, and we'll throw, just throw it in the gumbo. That's the way it is before the game. Then after the game, if they win LSU, it's okay. You're fine. You can hang out and enjoy. But if they lose, you want to get on out of there as quickly as possible.
They're not quite as generous.
Yeah. But it is. You just got to know your surroundings, right?
There is a whole thing, though, of course, that is known as driving in football traffic, and every stadium has a particular thing. And that is one of those things that you better hope the home team wins, or you're not going to be able to get out of your parking lot.
I mean, it's one of those, you just take a nap under an oak tree somewhere and wake up later.
Exactly.
And then go, okay, the traffic's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, a coworker who was graduated from Mississippi State, grew up in a small town. He went down to LSU when Mississippi State and LSU apparently were playing. He came back to work that Monday, and he looked at me and he said, I'm never going back. He said, I was so scared. They were throwing bottles and cans. It was crazy.
Yeah, you need to wear a hard hat.
And I'm like,
you're on the lower deck.
Who won? He said, they did. And I said, well, okay, that explains everything. He's like, I'll never go again.
The reputation of Tiger fans does precede them, but we are generally speaking a very nice bunch. Truly. We have received a Corridale, but that's not what critter you sent. But thank you very much. That's Dobson flies and fish flies, Mark. They're trying to identify your critter. We'll hit it.
We know it's good bait.
I know we did. Yeah. And
these are more like centipedes. They have way too many legs to be what you're looking at.
They gather around lights like moths, and we would catch them and use them to fish. Isn't that crazy? Hey, natural resource.
That's the best way to fish is catch what's around you and go throw it in the water and see if they eat it.
Absolutely.
I do like that.
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
All right, now, I love this. Replacing a friend's windows in the middle of one mess of landscaping. It's pretty attractive, though, I got to tell you. We'll talk more about that and this and the other thing. Stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, we can get it with a hood or not. We'll leave it at that.
No, it's the most amazing piece of 70s clothing
Seriously, if you were into leisure suits, you would love this jumpsuit.
This terry cloth jumpsuit, man, dude's got the best mustache and chest hair of ever.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And look, the man's and the woman's are the same price.
Oh yeah, same price. I mean, they have to distinguish between that for you. The men's terry cloth jumper is $48. The women's terry cloth jumper, it's $48 too. And the script on it is something fresh out of AI.
Gosh.
AI couldn't even come up with this.
No, AI could not make this up.
Is this something I need to look into?
Yeah, I sent you the text too. You didn't. Apparently, he doesn't know how this works. You get messages from me during the break.
I didn't get one. I'm feeling left out.
I sent it. Look, let me double check.
I'm going to give you this, though. I'll give you another bit of something. I have a bit of word salad for you today, which I just was intrigued by. You know, sometimes you hear stuff and you go, oh, well, that made sense. And then you think later on, that didn't really make that much sense. I'm particularly intrigued. There are people know that things shift over time. But in this case, there are trying to figure out how this asteroid informs us, because there's water in it that was not there when the asteroid was formed. So it was obviously it gained water somewhere along the way. And as they are studying this, they have so many things, you know, they got researchers from all over the country talking about this water and how it can possibly be and the change, and does that explain how we got oceans? Here's the word salad. Listen to this. This is a quote from a scientific article. Although scientists have a solid general picture of how the solar system came together, many details remain uncertain. You could take out half the words. It says exactly the same thing. We have no idea.
We just don't know.
We have no idea.
And figured it out yet.
We just don't know.
We spend a lot of time thinking about it, but we have no idea.
I love the way that, you know, today it's very popular for somebody to go on the internet and tell you how dumb you are, that they've figured it all out.
Oh,
and
yeah, of
for
course.
5,000 years, we've never figured this stuff out.
But
if you take this ingredient and this ingredient and that ingredient, you
just
can grow
took,
hair.
Yeah, that's all it
you
took.
can't. Yeah,
that's right. That's all
that's
it
the
took.
way that's the way like learning about the universe is. It's like if you just say it, it's possible. Apparently, no one really knows. We don't even know what's at the bottom of the ocean yet. You know, so I can assure you, we don't know what's a bazillion miles out.
I'll tell you what else we don't know. We don't know how come they found real teeth growing out of a fish's head. There is no Chernobyl to blame for this.
Oh, look,
we know so little between what's under the earth and what's under the water. We have so much work to do.
Yeah, that fish dentist was fired.
I have a pet peeve: word salad.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the show Ancient Aliens?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
And their number one tagline is ancient alien theorists.
Oh, yeah.
Believe.
Of course they do. They believe in everything because they're theorists.
Yeah, it's everything that's not proven. You can just pretty much go with that.
And they say that like every 30 seconds.
Ancient astronaut theorists.
I cannot watch that show.
I
cannot.
Well, after the first 180 of them, I mean, you pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you go back and watch the really old ones,
the same thing.
You hear the same thing that you heard in the last.
They just polish the new stuff up.
There are people, of course, who say, "How can you talk about crepe myrtles every year of your life?" You know, you're saying,
right.
Well, the truth is, not everybody knows the answer. So maybe the people that are tuning into the new Ancient Aliens didn't watch the old ones.
Or if I have to hear Mike Rouse say "supermassive black hole" one more time.
There's a smaller one apparently.
Apparently.
Over and over.
The University of Washington is not known for making too much baloney happen, and they are letting us know that they did, in fact. This is the deep. Somehow this happened. First of all, we know that the sharks are a large group of creatures. Okay, I did not know that there was a spotted ratfish, but I have a feeling it's not the best looking of the bunch. What can I tell you? Anyway, this is a tenaculum, and it does. Let me remember, this is a family audience. It assists in the marital experiments that the fish are conducting at the time. Only the males have the teeth. And interestingly enough, this is, they evolved there. They didn't evolve in the jaws at all. So, of course, we have to think about it all over again. Think of all of the dental people having to reconsider everything they ever knew. But that's really what science is about, is we take a presumption, we test it, we look at it, maybe we know later, maybe we find out something new. In this case, we found fish with teeth in their heads, sticking out the top of their heads. How crazy is that?
I'm telling you, whoever that fish dentist is needs to have some class action suits.
Yeah, we've got to have some work done on that.
Sure
we absolutely do.
The recipient was not very happy with that.
Not too pleased. I have one more question for you, Mark.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you decide? We know what truly invasive plants are. They're like the tallow tree that Lance graciously got rid of.
Hey, and anybody wants any sprouts, I've got you covered.
No. But when we talk about cleaning up beds, for example, you'll often read, and get out anything in there that you think might be invasive. Go ahead and clean that up.
Right.
Well, sometimes isn't that just the stuff that's going to recede, like jewels of opar or retibita? I mean, yeah, you can take it out. You're not going to get rid of it.
No.
So if you wanted it to be there, don't worry about it not being there. Isn't that how that works?
It is. And, I have that problem with a few of the plants I grow. Kale, no. That was not so bad, but like my persicaria.
Oh, yeah. The
one that recedes so much.
Everywhere, yeah.
I have so much of it that what I usually do is remove what I can and know I'm still going to have, and I'm going to have plenty.
Well, I heard someone this week complaining about your balsam, not your personal balsam, but about that plant, balsam, that you were so excited is blooming, and the little tiny one and all of this. There are people that say that thing recedes everywhere, get rid of it. It's like chives. We're not going to grow chives. They come up everywhere. Well, it's okay with me if they come up everywhere because I can get rid of them easily, and that's the difference to me between something that's really invasive and something that's just kind of a bully.
If it's a tallow tree, you better get rid of it.
Yeah,
a balsam, that's not invasive. That's generous. I mean,
very.
But I love it.
And people feel that way about so many things. If you know that you have plants that are going to run that way, sometimes you can plant them together. And, like 4 o'clocks and balsam, they'll kind of duke it out.
Right.
They'll suppress each other a little bit.
A lot of that has to do with the gardener's personality.
Yeah.
If you're a neat gardener, and you're super retentive about your garden, you don't want balsam.
Yeah. If the word effusive has never been used to describe you or your gardening style, you probably don't want these plants that honestly do reseed themselves all over the place.
I have a particular neighbor that she would probably have a stroke if I threw balsam seed in her yard.
And that's okay, because every gardener can be their own gardener.
Yeah, and so it has to do with. I dance around the strangest things. The native Ruellia, the little pretty one that's kind of fuzzy-leaved.
Yes, very sweet thing. It's a Mexican petunia, but it's not the big purple one that you're thinking
of. It comes up all in our yard, and if they come up in the bed, I leave them. And people are like, "That's a weed," and I'm like, "No, it's not."
A weed is the only plant. Weed is a plant that the gardener doesn't want. It could be a tree. That tallow tree was a weed.
That little guy's third cousin. They sell millions of dollars worth of it every year.
That's very true.
Every year.
Very true. Well, on that note, we have concluded our time together today. How fast, how fun. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you being here. Thanks, Lance. Thanks to all of you for listening. We'll be back next week.